Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Lee, certified professional pet groomer since 2003. You know who I am. I know who you are, and I'm very happy to see you tonight. It is my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the pet grooming industry, the successful secrets of the pet grooming industry, so that you can provide the same level of quality care to your beloved pets as we professionals do in our industry. And it is so important to have a safe place to come and learn valuable information on pet grooming, products, tools, equipment, where to get them, how to use them, so that you can just give your dogs the best you can. Or if you're a beginner learning to groom, I'm so glad you're here. So tonight's going to be a good one. It seems like a very simple topic, right? But it obviously can be complicated and it confuses people. And quite frankly, I'm like, do we always need all these speed settings on our clippers? We can run through them. I'm going to give you all I got about this tonight. So this is going to be a great topic, and welcome to everybody who's jumping in here from all over the place. I'm seeing you. I see you. I see you. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. So before we get started, I want to announce just a couple of things. Some of you may have noticed that a lot of my live streams, they've been disappearing after a week or so after we get together here live from the grooming table. Well, there's a reason for that. I work very hard on my videos, my standalone videos that are really teaching videos and good tutorials on how to learn to do different methods and techniques when it comes to pet grooming. So having my live streams up here seems to confuse people as to where to go and look for those valuable videos that are on my channel as well. So I thought about it and I thought, you know what, it's better to just give it as a perk. So my live streams will only be available to watch on the replay for maybe 2 weeks after we stream. So after tonight, maybe 2 weeks. After that, the videos, the live streams, just live streams, this live from the grooming table will then become only available to Go Groomer channel members, and they can view them whenever they want. If you enjoy watching these episodes of Live from the Grooming Table, you can join my channel as a member, and you'll be able to watch all of those old live streams. They're very valuable as often as you like. But here, I do have a link to join. So that is my members link. If that went, well, it didn't go. Wonder why not. Let me try it again. No, it doesn't look like it's going to go, but it is linked in the description below. Let me just get rid of that because that's just a mess. Okay. So anyway, I want you to know, if you're wondering, where are these live streams going? Well, if you're a channel member, you're not wondering that because you still see them in the playlist, on the channel, everywhere that they are. But if you're not a channel member, that's where you're confused. So that's not the only perk to becoming a channel member on my channel. I also give specific learning sessions on different topics in live Zoom meetings with my channel members monthly, or specific videos, learning videos, as well as PDF follow-along documents for my channel members to build their own Go Groomer notebook. So it's super cool. Anyway, that's what we do there. So that's what's happening with these live streams. I didn't want to scare anybody. Like, where are these videos going? That's the only reason. I just give them over to my channel members at that point. I give everybody about 2 weeks to watch them if you're not a member. Other than that, they go away. So before we get started, I want to remind you to start throwing your dog grooming questions in the chat, and I'm going to answer them at the end of this lesson tonight after I teach you all about dog grooming clipper speeds. Why are there speeds on our clippers? There are many reasons, and some of them really are beneficial to you. So you need to know. So if you do have a question, be sure to press and hold the dash key, create a line in front of your question, and then I'm going to get you an answer at the end of this live stream. I'll go back through and I'll field through all those questions for you. Tonight's topic is why dog clippers have multiple speeds. Many of my viewers wonder this. and I get this question a lot. What clipper speed should I use when I'm clipping a dog? And does it matter? Well, what does that mean? Clipper speeds. Well, here's our Wahl Km10. He's got 2 speeds, low and high. Okay? You may wonder why. Why is that? This is the Kenchii Flash 5. We turn it on. This thing has 5 speeds. That's on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Press and hold, turn them off. Okay, so why is this? You know, is this something that you really need to concern yourself with? Well, maybe sometimes it could be causing some issues with your grooming, and I'm going to explain that to you why. I'm going to give it all to you tonight. So we know some of them have 2 settings, some of them have 1 setting, some of them only have 1 setting. That means they're giving you what they feel is all the right power out of the gate in that clipper. And a lot of the single settings are for beginners, but that doesn't hold true across the board. You know, there is such a thing called the Wahl Bravera, which is a 5-in-1 clipper, and that is a single speed, if I'm correct. I don't think it has multiple speeds. And that's okay, as long as they chose that right speed, they put the right amount of torque. That's all about adjusting when in the factory, how they adjust things. But, you know, so the Bravera is kind of a predecessor to the Kenchii Flash 5. They really do the same thing. They are a 5-in-1 adjustable blade clipper. But listen, here's where the confusion comes in. There are so many professional dog grooming models to choose from when we're talking about clippers. So many models to choose from, and most of them offer more than 1 speeds. But why? In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between running a dog clipper on the different speed settings and when you may want to change the speed when giving a dog a haircut. I think that's the answer that y'all want. So let's get to it. Is everybody doing okay here in the chat? Everybody hear me okay? Yes. Oh, yes. Lois says the Wahl Bravera is single speed. I had one years ago, and it was not my favorite. It did a good job, but the battery just quit on me, and I replaced the battery. Still, from that day on, it was just a waste of money at that point. So I never went back to the Wahl Bravera. But when it was running, I really did enjoy it. It was a good clipper. But yeah, it was a single speed, and that's okay. That's okay. It will do what it was meant to do. So the first thing I want to show you here, I have an image. I have a couple images I want to show you, but this first image, let's take a look. When I say speeds, I've circled the speed settings on these 3 types of clippers. One is the Kenchii Flash 5, one is the Wahl Km10, and one is the Kenchii Flash. And this is where you will see the speed settings on those clippers, if you have one. There are many other clippers other than these guys. But in this image, you see 3 different dog clippers that we are all familiar with. Each clipper shown on screen has the option to change the motor speed, which raises or lowers the RPM of the clipper. That is exactly what the speed does. It raises or lowers the RPM of the clipper. When you choose a higher speed, you notice the clipper sounds different, and the vibration may vary from that clipper too, if you change to a lower speed or to a higher speed. So let me just let you listen to what that sounds like here for a second. Here is the Joy Z Falcon. This is a detachable blade clipper, and this is low speed. I guess my mic is here. And this is high speed. So see, most of your detachable blade clippers typically only have 2 speeds, but there are some that have 4 and 5. Here's the Wahl Km10. You know I like it. It's 2 speed. Single speed, low and high. Okay, and then we get to something like the Flash. This is a Flash 5. I'm going to turn it on. This has 5 speeds. I really feel that 5 speeds is not necessary, but I guess some people may find a sweet spot on one of those speeds. But I'm going to explain to you when you would go for this and want to change it, you know, when you're grooming. Well, should I change the speed? Okay, so here I have another image I want to show you just to put give you an idea, here you'll see I put in a little box, display, speed display. This is the RPM on the Kenchii Flash 5. Now this is the newer model, but it's the same on the older models if I'm correct. You know, this goes all the way from 5,000 RPMs to 7,000. That's a lot, but that's the variance. But if you look, it starts at 500, that's speed 1, or 5,000. Then it goes to 550 at speed 2. That's not a lot of difference. Then it goes up 500 RPMs to 6,000. Then it goes up 500. So they're just barely changing the RPMs with each one. But sometimes, depending on the dog you're clipping, it may make a difference if the coat type is thicker or if the dog seems to mind the sound or the vibration of the clipper. But keep in mind, the adjustable blade clipper is an adjustable blade clipper. It can do full haircuts, but we're typically using our detachable blade clippers when we're doing full haircuts, right? So we got low and high speeds on those, and that tends to be exactly what we need, the low and the high speed. And we're going to get deeper into that as to why we want a low speed and a high speed. So because the higher speed you choose, say on the Kenchii Flash 5, it will increase the motor RPM, which provides more power to move the clipper blade. Okay, that's what our clipper power is doing. It's providing more RPMs to move the blade. Okay, so it needs some power. So it's all about increasing the power when you up the speed, go to a higher speed on your clipper. So let's just talk about the pros and the cons of changing the speed of your clipper when giving a dog a haircut. There are pros and there are cons, why you would want to. So let's start with the pros. Let's start with the positives, okay? Reason to increase the speed when you're clipping. If you have either a 2-speed or a 4-speed or a 5-speed clipper. One reason, when clipping on a higher speed, it sends more power to the clipper blade, which is useful when clipping thick, heavy, or matted coats. Okay? Makes sense, right? When we're mowing the lawn, if the lawn is this high, it doesn't struggle much. When the lawn's this high, it struggles a little bit, our lawnmower, doesn't it, to get through the lawn. Well, it's the same with dog hair. If our lawn is this high and it's really sparse and the grass is really thin, it's not hard for the lawnmower to cut it. When it's high and weedy and thick, like my lawn right now, we need to turn up the power a little bit to get through that, right? We want to be on full power. So associate your clipper with that as well sometimes. Think about, is this a thick, heavy, dense, or matted coat? Do I need to kick up the power a little to get through it? But I'm also going to give you some examples here and talk about your clipper telling you when to turn up the power. What's the nice thing about clippers? They can talk. You didn't know they could. I talk to my clipper all the time and it tells me things. No, seriously, they will tell you when they're struggling. So when you clip on high speed, you can move the clipper faster through the coat. It's another benefit. This is another reason. So when we're on high speed, we can move faster through the coat as far as my movement. Not the clipper can move. We're moving the clipper, right? So when you clip on high speed, you can move the clipper faster through the coat. When clipping on a lower speed, you should slow down the movement of your clipper with every clipper pass through the coat. You have to allow the clipper time to cut the hair that's being fed into the clipper blade. So think of it that way. Let's think about that for a minute. So I'm clipping along, and I'm a pretty fast clipper. Like when I'm clipping, I'm moving about this fast. Some people wouldn't move that fast. Beginners probably wouldn't. So when I'm doing that, my clipper is, you know, it may start to bog down a little bit. It may start to make some sounds like bogging down, you know, like your lawnmower when it's going through weeds. That's, your clipper does it too. Think about your clipper like a lawnmower. So if it's got to go through some heavy stuff, kick it up to high. Give it the power it needs, especially if you're going to be moving through the coat rather quickly. If you're going to be grooming on a slower pace, nice and steady and consistent, your low is going to be okay. Be consistent with your clipper passes. That's important. Be consistent with your clipper passes as far as the speed that you're moving your hand. So if you're clipping down the side of a dog and you're clipping, and then you start clipping this fast and then you slow down, you're going to see a variation in the way that coat looks because you weren't giving the clipper time to, you know, cut the hair that was being fed into the clipper blade. That's the whole idea of the pet clipper, is the clipper, the hair is fed right into the clipper blade, and the clipper provides the power to blast right through that. So that's important that we talked about that. Allow the clipper time to cut the hair being fed into the clipper blade. If you're a beginner, I often suggest using only the single speed, the first speed, because we're going to get to that in a minute, but I'm going to jump right in and tell you, after I have had allergies. Sneezing like crazy. Low speed, the blade isn't going to heat up as quick. I'm so sorry. I knew this was going to happen today. It's been happening to me all day. That pollen is terrible around here. So I tell beginners often, just use the single speed for a while and use a slower pass of your clipper so you can really start to take in and judge how your clipper is working and be consistent with the amount of hair that's being fed into the clipper blade to give you a nice clipper pass. So another thing, another reason, another pro of why we have speeds and why we might want to kick it up higher. Clipping on high speed is useful for groomers that have good clipper skills versus beginners. So this is kind of what I was just talking about. Meaning if you're proficient and you've definitely mastered proper clipping techniques, you can increase the speed of which you guide the clipper through the coat. You can also increase the speed of the clipper at that point because you're moving the clipper faster through the coat because you've become faster and more accurate. And that happens with professionals, absolutely. And that's why they put at least 2 speeds on clippers. They want you to start, obviously you're a beginner, you're learning, you want that lower speed. But if you're going through a matted coat, you're going to have to kick it up to high. Once you learn that technique, and it just becomes repetitious to you, those clipper techniques, your speed will automatically increase and kick up. It happens to everybody. Like anything that you do, you get better at it. It becomes second nature. So when you learn that consistent speed and gain a little bit of speed with your clipper passes, you gain control over your clipper, and you can confidently move your clipper faster through the coat while you're producing smooth work. Very important. You may need to increase the speed of your clipper at that point in order to keep up with the clipper passes. In order for the clipper to keep up, to be able to power this blade, since you're moving faster through the coat instead of slower like you were as a beginner, you gotta kick that speed up a little bit so that the clipper can keep up and it can move that cutting edge of the blade and cut the hair precisely and nicely. So you see this all the time with experienced groomers. They have the ability to know, they already know how a clipper should behave when trimming a dog. That is true. So when they have the clipper in their hand, they know how it should behave because they've done it so many times. I definitely have this ability. If I'm grooming a dog and I notice I have to slow down the movement of the clipper in order to give the time the clipper needs to properly trim the hair, that comes naturally to me to understand that by listening to my clipper. If it's bogging down, if it's struggling, or if it's starting to look choppy, that means I'm pushing it through too fast. It's not having time to cut that hair, to move the cutting edge of the clipper blade. So you have to slow down a little bit sometimes if your clipper is telling you, hey, I'm struggling here. You can hear it. And that comes with experience. I can definitely hear the clipper struggling when it is, and I'm either going to slow down the movement of the clipper, or I'm going to choose to bump up the motor speed to a higher speed, or I might do both. Slow down the movement of the clipper and kick it up a notch to high speed. That's just what you do. It may not come naturally to you if you're a beginner to understand the sound of that clipper, what that clipper's doing, what it looks like. Is it supposed to look choppy? I don't think it is. No, it's not. So, you know, as you gain experience, you learn that. You learn to see the clipper passes aren't looking great. The clipper sounds like it's having trouble. But these are things that you'll learn as you groom more dogs. So, you know, just wait for it. It's coming. So pay attention to the performance of the clipper. Is it struggling to move through the coat? If so, your clipper may be telling you to turn up the clipper speed or slow down your movement guiding the clipper through the coat. So you have to pay attention to your clipper. Now, let's talk about some of the cons of clipping on high speed. Here's where we're getting to that point where we're going to talk about some things. Okay, one of the cons clipping on high speed is this is one you may not think about. If it's a cordless clipper, like this is the KM cordless, this is a Falcon cordless, this is a Piranha cordless. If it's a cordless clipper, it will drain your battery life faster if you clip on higher speeds. So that's one reason to consider not using the high speed if you're not clipping in a dense, heavy, or matted coat. So if you don't need the power, if you don't need to turn up the power, then you don't need to kick up the speeds, meaning your coat is not a challenging coat for this clipper to handle. The clipper's doing just fine on speed 2. In this case, this is only a 2-speed. So maybe doing just fine on speed 1, on low speed. And that's okay, you're gonna save battery life. It doesn't apply so much to clippers today because they all seem to offer the ability that if your battery does die, you can then plug it in and continue to work. So that's nice. I hope you guys do understand that. A lot of people don't realize that. If I'm clipping along and my Kenchii Flash just goes, oh no, I'm not done yet, I can take the charging cable and plug it right in and continue to clip with it. So just talking about cons, one of the cons of clipping on a higher speed, of having those speed options and choosing the higher speed, is it will drain the battery life faster. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. Really think about, do I need to have it on high, or is it going through the coat just fine on a low speed? So most of our clippers can be plugged in, we know that, so it's not an issue. Another con for having these speed options or possibly clipping on high. Clipping on high speed will produce more noise and more vibration to the dog. Some dogs are sensitive to that. They're really sensitive to that. Some dogs are sensitive to a lot of different dog grooming methods, like, you know, having their feet touched and having their toenails trimmed. Or a lot of dogs are a little leery about being trimmed with a clipper around their face. Well, think about it. They have a keen sense of hearing, and the clipper vibrates a little, not terrible, but a little, so it's something odd to them if they're not quite so used to being groomed. The vibration is one thing, the noise can be something to dogs too. So that is a time when, if I feel like a dog is a little fearful of the clipper around their face, that's a time when I will use the clipper on a lower speed and really slow down my movements so that I know that I'm giving the clipper blade time to cut the hair. Because it's on a lower speed, it's not powered as high. It's not moving that clipper blade as fast as it would be on high. So you got to remember, if I kick down to a low speed, because my dog's a little shy around the face and I want to take it easy, then you want to move slower with the clipper too, because you've taken away some of the power that it needed to get through the coat. And of course, coat type depends. If it's a very thin, sparse coat, or it's just not a thick coat, like, you know, say on a Yorkie, they don't really have a thick coat. You'd probably be fine all the time on a lower speed. seriously, because the clipper doesn't have to work very hard to get through that. Remember the tall weeds and just the little spindly grass? Well, if it's got to go through the tall weeds, it has to work harder. But if it's just going through spindly grass, it doesn't have to work as hard. And that's the same with your clippers. So another con to using high speed. So this is, we're talking about the different speeds of the clippers. Clipping on high speed will, if it's an A5 detachable blade clipper. All right, I do have to verify this. These are metal blades. Clipping on high speed with an A5 detachable blade clipper will cause this blade to get hot faster than it would if you clipped it on low speed. So if I'm on low speed clipping along here with my Wahl KM cordless, it's not going to heat up as fast as it would if it's on high speed. So if you're a beginner and you're clipping your dog, you're losing track of time anyway because you're so focused and concentrating on what you're doing. And I hope you keep testing your blade to see if it's hot, because it will get hot. All metal grooming blades get hot. But when you're a beginner, you're not always remembering to check that blade, and it's taking you a long time to groom your dog, and you don't realize it because time is going by so fastly because you're so engulfed in what you're doing. You know, you're concentrating. So that's another reason why I tell beginners to start clipping on low speed and use slower clipper passes so that you give this clipper time to power this blade enough to power through the coat, whatever coat you're clipping. That's definitely one of the biggest reasons beginners should use the low speed. However, if you're clipping a matted coat, you may need to kick that up because it's struggling, and you need to slow your clipper passes down. If any time, no matter what speed you're clipping a dog, if you hear this clipper is struggling, it's making noises, it doesn't sound like it was a second ago when it was clipping nicely down the back of the dog. Now it's come down the leg, it's struggling. It could be that you have to, you may not have to turn it on high, but you need to slow down your clipper pass. Nice, consistent, and even movement, but slow it down. Don't try to do this. If it's struggling, it's going to go, wah, wah. It's not going to be able to get through there. Just not going to do it. It's going to start barking at you like a dog. So these are reasons why we have these controls on our clippers. It's not that it's so simple as, hey, just turn on high, it'll go through anything. No, that's not true. It'll still struggle in certain coats, especially matted coats. A lot of it has to do with the speed of your movement of the clipper. So if I'm hurrying and I'm trying to push this clipper through that's struggling through a matted coat, it's not giving this time to power this blade and get through the skin of the mat. You have to give it time. So here's a tip. Adjustable blade clippers do not heat up the blades because they're not made of metal. And I know I've said this in past live streams, but I'm going to say it again because in case you didn't hear me say it, I'm going to say it. So, but that doesn't mean that it's better to use a 5-in-1 adjustable blade clipper because this blade doesn't get hot. It's not made of metal. Doesn't mean it's better to use this than your detachable blade clipper just because these metal blades get hot. Not a reason to say, well then I'm going to choose the adjustable blade clipper. It's going to do just as good a job as the Wahl Km10 and it doesn't get hot, so I don't have to worry about it. It's not true. It does not do as good a job. The blades are completely designed different to get through the coat. This is designed more for detailed work, and it's designed for a very, very well prepared coat, meaning it is perfectly bathed, brushed, conditioned, dried. All the dead coat has been removed nicely and safely. Then you'll have success with this as a full clipper. But the A5 detachable blade clippers have always been my choice for overall grooming, period. Always, and still are. I use this on most every dog that I groom, an A5 clipper or my turquoise one. It's just the same thing but corded. Same thing. So just because this blade doesn't get hot doesn't mean it's a reason to choose this clipper. It cannot It's not as powerful as this. Even though the RPMs say they're screaming at 7,000, it's about torque, and this clipper has torque. This clipper's torque cannot compare to an A5 clipper, or the torque on the Falcon, or the torque on the Raptor. These are all A5 detachable blade clippers, and they're made to power through situations. So it would be like, you know, using an electric weed whacker or a gas-powered weed whacker, in my opinion. That's what it's like. That's a good way to think about it. So another last tip here on topic before we jump into your questions. Here's a thing, little things that I want you to remember, okay, about clipper speeds. Keep your clipper passes consistent and steady when using a dog clipper to give the dog a haircut. Keep the clipper passes consistent and steady. Don't be clipping through your dog like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this. If this is the speed that you're using and it's giving the clipper blade time to cut the hair, then continue to use that speed of movement throughout the rest of that groom, because you know it's working. You know what you were doing was working. If you're moving the clipper fast and then you move it slow, you're going to see some corduroy marks, sort of, you know, and it means you didn't give the clipper blade enough time to get through that thick coat or whatever coat type it may have been having an issue with. So that's important. So match your clipper speed setting to the speed you move the clipper through the coat. As a professional, if you watch me in my videos, I move through the coat fairly quickly. Not like this. I don't groom that fast. There's no reason to do it. Move through the coat fairly quickly, kick it up a notch, kick it up to high speed. So match your clipper speed to the speed you move the clipper through the coat. And that's one of the most valuable takeaways I want you to walk away from this live stream with tonight, guys. Match your clipper speed to the speed that you move the clipper through. So what does that mean on a Kenchii Flash 5? If I'm using a Kenchii Flash 5 and I'm clipping, I always tell you guys, I like to set these about 3. Same with the Kenchii Flash. 3 is kind of the magic number for me. Pretty much on this Kenchii Flash 5 or my Kenchii Flash or the Hornet. The Hornet's only 2-speed. I will keep this at the 3 speed. That's right in the middle of the power. That's right in the middle. It's a good one to just keep it set at. I rarely change it from that. But I want to match my clipper passes with the fact that I chose the number 3 setting. That's not the fastest setting and it's not the slowest. So if this is slow movement of a clipper and this is fast, then maybe this is how fast I should be moving at a level 3 speed on my clipper. So you want to match the speed of your clipper to the speed of your movement when you're moving and gliding the clipper through the coat. Consider slowing down your clipper passes by moving the clipper slower with each pass and allow the clipper time to successfully cut the hair. So you really got to pay attention to that. This is how you produce smooth clipper work and have successful grooming sessions. Choosing the right clipper speed is not as simple as assuming that the high speed will clip better. Well, yeah, but you may not need to use the high speed. You could be killing your battery on your cordless clipper for no reason, and the coat may not be requiring it because it's just not a very thick coat. It's a short lawn, right? Not a thick lawn. So you don't need to go for that high speed if you're not using the clipper to its potential, meaning putting it through the test with certain coats that are thick, heavy, dense, or matted. So choosing the right clipper speed is not as simple as that. I recommend clipping on the lower speed as a beginner to keep your clipper passes slower. That way you can focus on what you're doing. Your blade is not going to heat up as quickly because you're on low speed, and you can focus more. If you find that you do hear your clipper bogging down and you're moving slower, then go ahead and clip it up, kick it up to the higher speed, and it will help you then at that point. So if your clipper's struggling and you're not moving it like this, Slow down a little. If your clipper is still struggling, maybe you should kick it up a little bit, okay? I recommend clipping on the lower speed for beginners, but you can clip on the high speed, but you need to pay attention to your blades. Are they getting hot? And especially pay attention to how fast you're moving the clipper. Don't move it too fast, or you don't let the clipper do the job that it needed to. Once you gain confidence with using a dog clipper, you will automatically know when to increase the clipper speed. When you gain confidence, you're already going to speed up. Your movements are going to be faster because you're confident. You're sure about what you're doing. You've done it. You've got some experience. You'll hear the clipper struggling to keep up with your movement, and then it's time. That's going to tell you, turn it up. Okay? Listen to your clipper. So I hope that's been helpful to understand why we have multiple speeds on our dog grooming clippers. Do we need 5 speeds like a lot of these clippers? I feel we don't. I feel the perfect thing is a low and a high speed. So say on this Kenchii Flash 5, at low speed I believe it's 5,000 RPMs. At high speed it's 7,000. So why not just go like 5,500 on low and 7,000 on high instead of having so many? But some people really enjoy having those slight little increases of RPMs, horsepower. Me personally, I don't see the point, but I'm not complaining. I use the clipper, I love it. But it is just what it is. That's what it is. They have 5 speeds on it. I find myself really only using the number 3. Sometimes I will kick it up to a 5, especially if I'm using guard combs on a heavier coat. So I like to use this around the faces. Even if I'm using this to trim a body and the legs of a dog, sometimes I will grab a 5-in-1 clipper with a guard comb attachment on it to set the length of the head, because the sound of this clipper is so quiet and the vibration is so quiet that dogs tend to be more accepting of it. So sometimes I will go for this, but then if I'm using a guard comb, I will kick it up to the 5 speed just to make sure I'm giving enough power to plow through that coat. That's all. And it's probably overkill. I probably didn't even need to, but we do these things as, you know, kind of so we prevent problems, right? And we know we don't have to worry about blades heating up with this clipper, and we don't have to worry about any of our guard combs heating up, whether it's on a detachable blade clipper or an adjustable blade clipper. The guard combs do not heat up. If your guard comb has heated up on you on an adjustable blade clipper, I've never seen that in my whole 20-some years of grooming. I guess that's how long I've been grooming. I've never seen that happen. But then again, I don't leave my clipper run. Maybe you're running that clipper for 2 hours. I don't know. That's usually 20 minutes at most, and I'm done with my clipper work. But not always. Now, let's get you some answers. Let's see who has typed some questions in here and get you some answers. Remember, you want to hold that dash bar down, create a question. I see some in here, and then I will be sure to see it so I can get you an answer. All right, I'm going to scroll to the top, and I'm going to start moving down. How are you guys doing tonight? Huh? It's Monday, so we don't care. We don't care about Mondays. Mondays are great, right? They are now, since we've been getting together for the last 5 years. How awesome is that? That is great. All right, so I see one question here. The first question comes from Fur Baby Mom. And it says, can I use a 7F on both my Schnoodle and Shih Tzus for their summer cuts? My Schnoodle is all black and one of my Shih Tzus is mostly black things. Well, the color of the dog doesn't really make a difference. It's the thickness of the coat. But of course, here's what I'm going to tell you about a 7-blade. A 7-blade is basically going to go through anything, a thin coat or a thick coat. Now, are you asking me, do I recommend you use the 7-blade on the Schnoodle and the Shih Tzu? It depends. The Shih Tzu probably has a bit of a thick coat, a dense coat. So I feel that it's safe to give a summer cut to a Shih Tzu, from my experience of working with Shih Tzus in my area. a 7-blade is safe enough. It still leaves just a tiny little length that it's not going to irritate the follicle, but it's going to cool down the dog, and Shih Tzus do grow very fast. So I don't have a problem with that on the Shih Tzu. The Schnoodle, however, is a cross between a Schnoodle is a Schnauzer and a Poodle. So typically poodles have thicker coats. Schnauzers do not have thick coats. You could use a 7-blade. You might want to use a 5. I feel like that coat's a little thinner. Maybe it needs just a little bit more protection from the sun. Schnoodles typically don't grow coat back as fast as Shih Tzus. So in other words, it leaves them with not much protection. But anytime you take a dog short, and 7 is as short as I will safely go on the body, you want to always be concerned about sunburn. So if your dog is one of those dogs that loves to lay out in the sun and just soak it up, and you clip them with a 7-blade, you know they really don't have much hair protecting their skin. Their hair is their sunblock, by the way. Then you don't want to allow that. You don't want to allow them to lay out there and sunburn. And it can only take about 15 minutes depending on the heat index and the intensity of the sun's rays that day. But a dog can definitely sunburn, and it may only even take about 15 minutes for that to occur. So that would be my biggest concern with a 7-blade on especially the Schnoodle. But your Schnoodle may actually have a denser coat, you know, because it is a mixed breed. So one Schnoodle's coat's like this, the other one's like this. They're not all the same. But that's a good question. So 7-blade is 7 and a 5-blade are my 2 choice blades for summer clips on most dogs, unless it's a Maltese or a Yorkie, something with definitely more of a sparse coat. I don't like to go that short. I would then go maybe a 3/8 of an inch guard comb. 1/4 of an inch guard comb might be as short as I'd like to go on a Maltese or a Yorkie, if I had my choice and they weren't matted. If they're matted, it's often got to be the 7-blade. You just don't have a choice. But yeah, you're asking, is it safe? Yeah, it's safe. It is. Just watch them. They don't lay out there and get any sunburn. More than anything, that's one thing you'd want to worry about. Let's see if we have any more questions. I'm just rolling down through here. And yes, some dogs, the sound of the clipper, you know, is what gets them. You can also put cotton in a dog's ear gently, just as far as you can see, to dull down the noise, and find if that helps calm them down a little bit if they mind the clipper. They've got to get used to the sound of the clipper. So if your dog is not used to it, you're going to have a little bit of pushback typically. Some dogs are just like, I trust you to do whatever you want to do, but that's not typical that you would get a dog like that all the time that's never been clipped and say, hey, this is fine with me. So, you know, you have to kind of teach them that they're safe. That's the idea of working them with the tools when they're younger and slowly introducing them to the tools. Amy Sutton says, unrelated to clipper speed, but what is the hose nozzle that you have that I use? I think it's purple. My bathing hose, that is no longer made. It came with my TriStar Vet tub, and they used to offer it on their website separately if somebody wanted to upgrade to the hose that I use in my tub. You can't see it. It's blue. It's the blue one. You see it in my videos. I love the nozzle. I believe so, because you can't get it anymore, now they offer a gun sprayer. I don't like gun sprayers. It's just not my favorite thing for grooming all dogs, all types. I like the way my sprayer, the water comes out of that, and so do the dogs. They really do. So it's saddened me to see that they discontinued it. That was right after COVID. They went to the gun sprayer. So apparently the manufacturer wasn't able to get the parts anymore to make that sprayer. I don't know. But what I will tell you is I have noticed that Hanvee is who makes my hair vac system. They make mobile grooming vans. They make other things too. Hanvee Engineering, Hanvee, Hanvey. They make a bathing system called the Bathing Beauty. Now, I'm not telling you to go buy the Bathing Beauty. Basically, it's a sump pump. But what I will tell you is they do sell the hose. And I was watching other people use that hose, and it to me seems similar to the hose that's on my TriStar Vet tub. So it's the one on Hanvi's website, hanvi.com, and it's a replacement hose for the Bathing Beauty. And I believe you would be able to make that work with any other concoction, you know, any tub you had or a certain type of plumbing. Sometimes we have to get different. Is Gus in here? Oh, he is asleep. Oh, he's here. He's here. He's not usually with me when I live stream because he gets excited when his dad comes home, but his dad's going to be late today, so I brought him down here with me so we can be together. So check that one out. That is the only one that I have found that is similar to mine. And I haven't used it for myself, the Bathing Beauty replaceable attachment hose. But you could call Hanvi and say, hey, I have a regular tub. I'm not looking to hook this up to a bathing system. Can I buy your Bathing Beauty attachment replacement hose and use it in my dog grooming tub? See what they say. They would be able to answer that pretty good for you. So that's a great question. And yes, I love that hose very, very much. Fur Baby Mom says, thanks, Amy. I always use a 4 for both my Schnoodle and my Shih Tzus. The Schnoodle has thick, curly poodle coat. Then you'd be fine with a 7. So I'll stick with the 4F. I don't like going shorter than that anyway. Okay, hey, if you're happy with the 4, the 4's not, I mean, that's like less than a 1/4 inch of hair length. So it's fine. If you like that on your Schnoodle, keep doing it. Because I would imagine the coat type on your Schnoodle is a little different than on your Shih Tzu. Shih Tzu probably has a thicker coat. And the 7, you know, really isn't an issue with that. So Lois says, hello there. My Shih Tzu has very fine, thin coat. And I do see that sometimes. It's not typical of a Shih Tzu, but I do see it. I went over her 4 times with the 4-blade at a slow beginner speed. Okay. Her coat turns out choppy no matter what. Should I go against the lay of the coat? It's a Shih Tzu, so Shih Tzu has a little bit of wave to the coat. It can be a little bit of a tricky one to trim. I always tell people, and Lois, you're a channel member, I did a lesson on this with my channel members about trimming drop-coated dogs, and that's what your Shih Tzu is. So in other words, what we really focused on in that lesson was to follow the coat. So if you're coming down the neck and the coat swirls a little down the side, then you kind of gently, not like this, you gently follow that with your clipper. Sometimes it's simply the direction that you're cutting with a drop coat that can leave some lines and a little bit of uneven finish on your clipper work. So, you know, be sure you're rolling the skin in front of the clipper blade like I taught you guys, and it's in my videos. And you want to try to follow the direction that coat lays down off the dog. And it should be okay. If you're using, you're using a 4. I tell you, a 4-blade is often hard to make pretty, especially on a wavy coat or a drop coat. I think, Lois, you might have success if you, instead of using the 4-blade, chose to use a 1/4 inch guard comb. Or you could maybe go just a little shorter than the 4 and go to the 5-blade because it probably will look smoother. Those two things, what happens with a wavier kind of coat. So the coat may start to break and wave at about the height of the 4-blade. So it's making the hair stick out weird as it's clipping. So if we go a little bit shorter and clip before that hair break in the lay, we might be able to get a smoother finish. And that's why often professionals will, you know, they'll try this 1/2 inch guard comb and they'll say, I don't like the way that works in that coat. And what that means is it's cutting too high and allowing the coat to have that, just the tip of it to have a break and a bend. So it kind of goes out in different directions because it is a drop coat. So sometimes just going a little bit shorter tightens all that up, and it's not short. It's not 7 blade short, it's not 10 blade short, but it's a little shorter. If you went back to a 5 blade, you might find that it's smoother. I don't really like clipping in reverse. If you're using a guard comb, Lois, that's more than 1/4 of an inch, I'd say you're pretty safe to clip in reverse direction, and yes, it will produce smoother work. But I want you to avoid any type of clipper work around the actual hair follicle where it comes out of the skin. That's when you can do damage, when you're clipping in reverse. If you're clipping in reverse with a shorter blade like a 7 or a 10, that's when you can do damage to the hair follicle. But the guard combs leave a little bit of length, so they're coming up over, they're not really, you know, pushing up against that and cutting it short. So good question. Donna Monson says, would you ever do poodle feet on a Havanese? If so, what blade would you use? No, I wouldn't. Havanese doesn't even have a poodle foot. Poodles have a very perfect foot. If you have a poodle, you have a perfect footed dog, okay? They have a beautiful foot, and it's real tight, and it works, you know, shaving the poodle feet, and of course it's breed standard to the trim. But no, a Havanese is, you know, got a little bit more of that spay foot. So when they're standing, their toes go a little bit like that. No, it just would look, I would never do it. And if a customer asked me to, I still wouldn't do it. I know a lot of groomers say, well, they asked me to do it, and so I did it. Hey, you know better than they do. So you just got to use your smart powers and say, no. I can really tidy that up nice with a scissor if you want it cleaner, and I'll shave out the pad real nice, but I'm not shaving a poodle foot on a Havanese. That's what I would say. CMM says, I'm confused. Isn't a 7 the standard blade for a Schnauzer body? Yes, but not in reverse. Yes, but we're talking about a schnoodle. And the reason we're talking about a schnoodle CMM is the schnoodle, some schnoodles have a very sparse coat, you know, even more so than a Schnauzer. So it all depends on, does it have a thick enough coat that we're not exposing too much skin? That's the important thing. Let's take back, doesn't matter what breed it is, doesn't matter if it's a Schnauzer, doesn't matter if it's a Cocker Spaniel. If that Cocker Spaniel has a very sparse, thin coat, then don't take it that short, because the hair can't protect it from the sun, from allergens, from other things. So it's all about how thick the coat is, and if we take it 7 short, are we going to see skin? We don't want to see skin. We don't want to see this skin. That means the sun can see the skin, the allergens can see the skin. We don't have any protection. So it all depends on the thickness. Hopefully that helps a little bit, CMM. Deborah Rose says, Amy, my question is above Lois. I put a line before. Okay, you got it. I'm headed up. Deborah. Let me see. I see Lois is all. There's Fur Mom Debbie Matthews. There you are. I'm sorry I missed you. Thank you. You basically control the clip with your elbow and keeping your wrist stable. Some of it, that is one thing. Controlling the clip, yes, is making nice, consistent, complete clipper passes before we take the clipper off the dog. When I say complete, if I'm coming down the back of a dog, I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to come down the back of the dog, scoop off at the rump, and scoop away. That is a complete pass. If I stop and start over again, I'm probably going to see a line where I stopped. So one thing is a complete and consistent speed of moving the clipper, but a complete clipper pass before lifting off, okay? Second thing, oh, almost drop tested one. Second thing is just, you want this clipper parallel with the skin, not like this. Parallel with the skin, and you want it to gently just roll the skin a little bit. That's how much pressure you're putting on the clipper. So see, right now I'm not really rolling my skin. Now I'm kind of rolling my skin, meaning the skin is rolling. You know what that does? that feeds the hair right into the clipper blade. So having the right amount of pressure on your blade to roll the skin in front of the clipper blade, as well as nice consistent speed movement of your clipper passes and complete clipper passes. Those make for successful clipping. That is successful clipping right there. So it's not just one, it's not the other, it's the whole, it's all three of those. So hopefully that helps you. That was a great question. I'm glad that I went back up and found it. I'm glad that you shouted at me, hey, Amy, go get my question. All right. You're welcome, Lois, no problem. I hope I help you. That's always my goal. So in refreshing here today, clipper speeds, let's take the Wahl Km10. And most of our detachable blade clippers are just 2 speeds. So single speed is for what? Beginners. Low speed. Low speed is for beginners. And high speed is for a little bit more of an experienced groomer who can really determine if the clipper, is struggling in the coat by looking at the clip and by hearing the clipper sounds. Because your blade's going to heat up faster, it's a battery life. We got battery life to be concerned about here. We're going to drain the battery life a lot faster if we're using this on 2 speed. If we don't need to use it on high speed, don't use it for a cordless clipper because it will drain the battery life. But sometimes as you're clipping through and you're not liking the way the coat looks as you're clipping it, it could be that you're either moving the clipper too fast or that the clipper needs to be turned up a speed or up to high speed. Give it more power. Remember the lawnmower thing. So if the lawnmower is going through a little spindly grass, it's like, oh, happy is, it's so cool. I'm just, and then we take it through grass and weeds like this and it goes, and sometimes it just shuts off, right? That's why we were feeding too much grass into that mower. The motor couldn't do it, the grass won. Just like a coat, a matted coat could win on that too. So Becca Beck says, I use the Wahl KM pink and corded blue clipper. Those are good clippers. The Wahl KM's my favorite. The KM10 and the KM. So who had a question? CMM, I don't see your question either. Did I miss something, CMM? Did I miss a question from CMM? I'll go back up and look. I answered it. I saw a question that says, I'm confused. Isn't a 7 standard blade for a schnauzer? Yes, 7. I did answer that. Yes, it is. I said it just all depends on how thick the coat is if we're going to go that short. 7 blade is the standard pattern size for a schnauzer. But some people want to do a schnauzer in a summer cut and take everything off, the body and the legs and the furnishings all with a 7, and that's okay. You can do that. So don't be too confused. A 7 blade is typically safe for a summer cut, but don't go any shorter than that. Now, guys, I'm going to see you again in 2 weeks. I will. I'll be here. You going to be here? You going to be here? Give me a thumbs up and let me know. Smash the like button. Say, yeah, I'll be here. If not, you can watch it on the replay. No problem. But you will notice some things in the description below, guys, some awesome information down there. I do have a weekly newsletter that's free that goes out once a week, every Friday at 8 a.m. I deliver it straight to your inbox and shares all of my exclusive dog grooming secrets little by little through my emails. And it's fun. It's fun to get that email every Friday, and my subscribers of the email are really enjoying it. They definitely reach out to me in emails and tell me so. So I love the feedback. It tells me keep it coming. So it's important to me. If you're not a channel member and you're interested in being a channel member, you'll have access to, I think, over 200 live streams that are not available on my channel anymore unless you're a member. But you also have access to my learning sessions called Sheer Joy with Amy Lee and the Hounds. It comes complete with a PDF to go into your building. You know how you go and build a bear at the mall? Well, you're building a Go Groomer notebook when you are a channel member and you are enjoying those Sheer Joy with Amy Lee and the Hounds learning sessions. Members also, some other perks, there's other videos that are only turned on for members only, videos that used to be on my channel. And a lot of you go, I used to watch this video all the time, where did it go? I turned it off because it was not doing so well to the public. Nobody was watching it, and I'm like, I'm just going to give it to my members, only they can watch it. And so there is like 200 and some videos on my channel. That doesn't include my Sheer Joy with Amy Lee and the Hounds learning sessions for members. So, I mean, for $4.99 a month, I would be a Go Groomer member if I wasn't already. But I am already, so I don't have to do that. But anyway, that's linked in the description for you too. My learning center, I have a lot of learning PDFs, educational PDFs. I do have a very, very basic dog groomer course for the very beginner. It is not a certification course, but it will prepare you. It goes deeper than a lot of dog grooming courses on tools, how to use them, that kind of thing. And it shows you how to do one trim on 2 different dogs. That course is linked, is on my learning center. There's all kinds of stuff down there in the description below, but all those are things that I either created or people I partner with to add value to you and your pets. So hounds, you know, I just released a video yesterday. That was awesome. Is it? Yeah, Sunday. I just released the first video in our series of 3 videos coming this summer that are building into a boo-boo blueprint. How to fix a bad haircut. How to transition a dog from one trim to another. Maybe not a boo-boo. You're transitioning from a schnauzer trim to a teddy bear trim, maybe. You know? So that was just released for my members yesterday. It was a very good video. So I just want to thank you guys for coming. I love you very much. I see what you're doing. You're doing amazing things grooming your dogs. You're gaining the knowledge. You're getting the right tools in your hand, and you know how to use them, and you're learning how to use them. And you're practicing. That's the most important thing, because you will improve with every groom. So now, before I go, guys, I'm going to leave you with the Farmer's Dog Super Bowl commercial, because I am a partner pro with Farmer's Dog. I feed Big Gus Farmer's Dog, and he loves it. If you want your dog to eat their food in 2.9 seconds, feed them the Farmer's Dog. They all love it. They eat it so quickly, it's good. Important for us mom and dads, dog mom and dads, is it's really good for them. It's everything that they need, and the things that they don't need are not in the bowl. Trust me. Long live dogs, and that's how we do it. We want our dogs to live as long as we can. I would love to give you a free box of the Farmer's Dog delivered straight to your door for your beautiful pet or pets. If you have 2, you'll get 2 boxes. So, link in the description below. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Tell your Alexa that you need a reminder. You don't want to miss it, because I don't want to miss seeing you. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a wonderful 2 weeks. Keep doing your thing. I'll see you around the webs. I'll see you on Instagram. I'll see you on Facebook. But for now, I want to salute you for coming tonight and for being an amazing dog parent or a dog groomer. This is wonderful what we do. So, here's the Farmer's Dog for you. Long live dogs.
I'll always take care of you.
Slow down. I wanna hold you forever.
Hey, little bear bear.
I wanna love you forever.
Let's not do that again, okay?
Don't worry, darling, about the rest of our life. Through thick and thin, I'll be there by your side. 'Cause when I see those big, beautiful eyes looking into mine, I wanna hold you forever.
To have and to be from this day forward.
You forever.
Come on, Bear.
Yes, I do now. Ooh.
I'm gonna love you forever.